Now, there are very few things that I personally would ever try to like force upon anyone to just like think like this. Get rid of one of those commandments and just take on this commandment. Like, find a way to be happy, but not at someone else's expense. Before I found this elegantly put, like it was just in the early stage of my comedy career, like the sound of hearing all the laughter that poured into my ears after just like speaking just all the pain and just like all things just like weighing me down at that point in life. Like it was just so therapeutic is the word I use. And then, like just the feeling that just like engulfed, and if anybody who has done comedy or, like knows that this is what is referred to as the comic high, which is just like the rush you get after you like do your first set as a comedian, or after you like do a set, that like you killed it, the audience was laughing, like, but that was the early stage and it was like very therapeutic. And then when I got to like progress into my career and I just found myself just like doing the same material, like people often follow bands and stuff like on the road, and like it's cool, like, and a lot of comics talk about it, like music and like just a joke. It's different, like I don't know one comic who has like a following that just travels around them, like, cross country, see every show, because that would drive somebody crazy. It's just, I got to a point where like just doing the same joke for the purpose of like therapy. And then like I realized like the laughter I was like hearing, I don't know, it got me to a point where I had to just like reflect on myself and just be like, I don't know. I feel like I got over this pain and I'm just like telling it, in a way where it's not as genuine as it was. And then like I'm like questioning, like, am I just like keeping this can of worms like open for me to just like not bury in my past and like move on? Like these are the questions that I started like just asking myself, just to like get a sense of like, what am I doing and why am I doing this? And like it just, the feeling changed, the high changed. And again, I went through a very dark phase of drug addiction and stuff like that. And it's all the same. It's just, yeah, the first time any drug, a drug is just something that creates some kind of electrical, it's anything is a drug on a scientific level, like paintings from the Renaissance are drugs. They are meant to be looked at and meant to inspire some kind of thought to form in the human mind. Like there is a purpose. That's what a drug does. It changes or is intended to alter a state of mind. That's a definition of a drug. And if we look at that, we are all drug addicts of something. Now, granted, good drugs are bad drugs, but just if we could just think of just like, trying to get a sense of like an addict who is dealing with drug addiction. And if you're somebody who I know a lot of you are trying to help people who are in this position, like you just have to think like, how did they get to this point? And like, I just hope that way of looking at the word drug helps anyone in that helping position to be able to use that to find some kind of common ground. Because, like I said, from both sides, being the addict and being somebody who's helping an addict, like I realized, like, yeah, just somebody who's trying to help you and just being like, we just hate hearing or seeing you just like being this drug addict, like it's just, think about that. Like if you are in a position where, yeah, your drug is working out every day and you do it every day, like you just can't stop. Like I just work out every day. Like just somebody comes up to you and just like, we are really concerned that you are a gym addict. And you're just like, what? Does that make sense? So again, but to come back to the point of why I'm saying all this, like find a way to be happy, but not at someone else's expense. And so, yeah, when I found myself like not as enthusiastic as I was, telling the same joke over and over, show after show, state by state, like, yeah, I just wasn't happy doing comedy anymore. But I liked doing comedy, I thought. And so, like that's the politics of comedy that I found out too, is just like, I had tried to do other jokes that went well, but like my bookers would just tell me like, people really just love the Asian material. Like they want more of that, and like all my Asian material was all the stuff that like was weighing me down that I got over. So like, yeah, it was just like, if I want to be happy, I'd like to do other material than just like my Asian pain. And I'm happy doing comedy, but then like now people are telling me like I have to do more of this stuff that doesn't make me happy. And then, okay, if that's what they want and that's how I get shows, then I'll conform to that. And so I started doing more Asian jokes that I just didn't really believe in. It's just like the cookie cutter. Any Asian could tell this joke. Like, and I just got to a point where like, oh my God, like I'm just creating like a new thing to make fun of probably, like the younger generation of Asian Americans or whatever, like, and again, like this is where that thought, like, what am I doing? But then the moment, like I was in Wyoming and I just said something minuscule, trying to react to a heckler who just was heckling me throughout the show, but it was my fault. I admit it because she was the only one who was there like 30 minutes before the show when I like got there. And we just talked and got to know each other. And so I realized like, yeah, as a comedian, it was my fault that she just kept heckling me. And, like it was, she was like a 60-year-old lady in Wyoming who just lived in the area. She was like the local at that bar. And she just kept saying, I'm like, yeah, Sheila, like, yeah, that's cool. Like, shh. And then like, she's just interacting. That's all it was. It wasn't even like a big crowd. So I didn't really care. I didn't even use like the set I had prepared. But again, just kind of freestyling whatever. It was pretty much an open mic to me. And at an open mic, pretty much anything happens. And I was just shocked that what I said at that time ended up leading to her like getting up out of her chair, just saying, "I'll kill you." And I was like, Sheila, what? And like all of a sudden the whole show was like, like that's when my set like climaxed. And I was like, Sheila, like seriously, like come on, I didn't mean it. And she's like, and she was pissed. Granted, she was at this point, like way too far into the drinks and stuff like that. But I've never had a 60-year-old white-skinned lady from Wyoming, let alone any lady, like just scream, "I'll kill you," at me 3 times. Try to defuse, like, really, Sheila? Like, yeah, I'll kill you. Really, Sheila? Yeah, I'll kill you. And no joke, I still have the footage somewhere. Like, she like was almost about to charge the stage until like her husband like grabbed her. And it was like coincidentally, like right as my stage ended. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was a little scared on like, if I exit the stage on that side, like I'm gonna walk down there. But then if I go this side, then what if everybody thinks like I'm like scared? And so I went that way. And literally I felt like I was like walking down like the aisle towards like entering the ring of a UFC match where like she's just being dragged out in front of me as I'm walking down the aisle, and she's just like, I'll kill you. And her husband's just like holding her back. It was just a trip of an experience. And just like after I went back and just like watched that show and figured out what offended her, that was the moment in my comedy career where I just told myself, like, Charles, like, it was nice, you know, like, it's totally okay with me if the cause of your laughter is from my pain. You know, like, I'm okay with that. I love that. I welcome that. But then at that moment, after watching the video, just reliving that experience, just like I realized, like, I did say something very offensive. I'm not going to tell you what, but that was the moment where I made this a commandment for myself. You know, like, okay, Charles, like, it's okay if, you know, your laughter is caused by my pain, but it's not okay that my laughter causes anyone else pain. Like, that was the conscious choice where I was just like, wow, like, I just felt terrible that I, like, yeah, I mean, I was always raised to respect my elders and stuff like that. And like I said, at the moment it was happening, I was like, what happened? What did I don't know what happened. But yeah, just going back and examining every second, I just felt bad. And so that was the rule that I made that day, and I've followed ever since. And when I read this, just, you know, find a way to be happy, but not at someone else's expense. And long story short, I just kind of stepped away from the light of the stage. You know, like, I can be happy just making people laugh, like, when I meet them. I don't need to do it at the expense of, like, selling my my soul to do so, you know? So yeah, find a way to be happy, but not at someone else's expense. You know, that would be my answer. It's just, if everybody could just learn from my mistake and just, like, yeah, like I said, I don't want to have to, like, force feed this commandment that I follow onto people. I just hope that they are able to, like, hear what I'm saying and just, like, find a place in themselves where they are willingly embracing this commandment into their own lives. Because I truly, truly feel that if somehow, some way I can get that to actually happen, like, that one act, I know, would leave me, you know, on my deathbed, just a man who knows that I will die leaving some kind of contribution. I don't want to say a mark, but a contribution that ultimately, like I said, that I see, like, making this world a much better place than, you know, when I entered it, you know, like, so again, that's just another thing, you know, like, wherever I go, I try to make it better than, you know, wherever I go. And then whenever I find myself leaving, I just always pray that I leave it better than when I entered it. Like, that's just kind of like a broad, like, this is the carrot. So I don't know. I hope that helps answer this question for you guys. And I hope it's a little different from the normal question answers that you've been reading for this one. And yeah, keep these questions coming. I hope that you guys enjoy these video answers. And yeah, I love you. And yeah, anything you want to ask, please ask away.